Welcome friends to my kitchen. Bem-vindos à minha cozinha. It's early in the morning and I need to make biscoitos for customers that I have. So I thought I already have a video, but some of you have been having some issues with the recipe, so I thought I would show you again to see if there's something you kind of not doing it right or missing. So anyway, I'm going to show you how I make my biscoitos. I'm going to do vanilla flavor, but you can do whatever flavor you like. Lemon, almond, vanilla. So anyway, let me show you all the ingredients that I have and the quantities. And I will leave the recipe on the description so you can go back and see if there's something missing. I have here 4 cups of all-purpose flour, just plain all-purpose. I have here 4 cups. This is the flour you buy for the pancakes. I use Biscoitos, but I'm sure any kind of pancake flour will do. So 4 cups. I have 2 tablespoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon baking soda. I'm gonna mix all this in here. I'm gonna mix this too. Let's mix it dry. I have 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna whisk this. This is a good recipe. It makes a large quantity. That's why I like it. But these can last in a Titan plastic container or any Titan container for a very long time. So if you make it, you'll have it for a while. So I want to mix all those flours together and combine them. Okay. In here I have 12 eggs. I have 12 large eggs. If your eggs are smaller, put at least maybe 14. Some of mine were bigger, some were smaller, so I put 14 eggs in here. That's, depending your eggs. I have 4 cubes of butter or 1 pound of butter. You want butter, you don't want margarine. I've done with margarine, but it doesn't taste as good, and so that's why I do real butter. And then I use 4 tablespoons of Crisco. This Crisco, the yellow butter, the yellow kind. There's white and there's this. So I put 4 tablespoons in here. I have 4 cups of sugar, and then we're gonna put 4 tablespoons of vanilla or whatever the amount you want. So I'm gonna put my vanilla in here. 2, 3, 4. Goes to the end of the bottle. Okay. And I'm gonna mix all this. And you can mix this with your mixer or with the blender. I mean, not the blender, the mixer or the hand mixer. I just do it by hand. I just want all those flavors all mixed. I'm gonna put my eggs in here. And also, you can be doing all this. It also depends the flour. I had a subscriber this week. She was making, but the dough was too watery, too soft. So it could have depended the flour. I don't know if she forgot to put the 4 cups of pancake mix. But if it's too watery or add more flour. Okay, and I'm gonna put my sugar. Well, probably do it the other way. I'm gonna mix all this with the sugar. I have a lot to make today. When I do biscoitos, I don't just do, this is just one recipe. And this recipe gives me about 8 dozen. So I need a lot more. I'm probably gonna do 4 batches today. So anyway, So you mixed all the sugar, the eggs, the butter, the Crisco. You mix everything, all the wet ingredients. Let's see, there's some more egg in here. These are so delicious to have with a cup of coffee. My husband loves them in the morning with his coffee. So, or even in the afternoon with a cup of tea, they're good to have. I know my customers, they love it. When I say I'm gonna make it, the orders just keep coming. Okay. So all the sugar, everything is combined. Okay, so now I'm gonna put all my wet ingredients with my dry. Like I said, last couple weeks I've had a lot of people with questions regarding the biscoitos. So now I'm gonna just mix everything. And if you find that maybe they're too dry, just crack a couple more eggs, because probably your eggs weren't big enough. If you find it's too wet, it shouldn't be too wet. It should be like a consistency of Play-Doh. That's what I told my subscriber this week. It should feel like Play-Doh. Easy to roll, but not too soft that it keeps sticking. It shouldn't stick to your hands. If it's sticking to your hands, it's too wet and needs more flour. And if it's separating or falling apart, then it's too dry. I know it's a science. And once you make it once, you'll get used to it. This looks like a good consistency. And then after I mix this, I'm gonna let this sit here for maybe 20 minutes. But I'm gonna cover with a damp towel. And the reason I do this is because the moisture in the air, it starts drying the dough. And you don't want the dough to be dry, then it'll be hard to shape. And that's what you want, see? If you form a ball, it should shape into a ball. Okay? And it shouldn't be sticking to your hands. That's one good way. And everything feels like Play-Doh. So now I'm gonna cover this and leave it aside, and then I'll show you. Another good way to know the consistency is good, when you mix it, your bowl stays clean, okay? That's another good way to know if it's a good consistency. Okay friends, it's time for me to start rolling my biscoitos. And so I cut a piece of the dough, and I want to wake up this gluten. So I work the dough a little bit. Could be rolling, it could be in my hands. And you want the gluten to wake up so you can start rolling. And you need the gluten to stretch. So I roll it into a big log like this, and then I cut it into little pieces. And I cut into these little pieces to the size that I think I'm going to want to shape the dough to make the biscoito, to make the round circle. And sometimes you find that the dough kind of is breaking. You need to wake up that gluten, and then that butter has kind of hardened a little bit, so you want to soften up on your hands. That's just normal. You want to soften on your hands, and then you shape the size you want. Don't put them close to each other. Give them a little space because they're gonna grow and they can kiss each other. If if you put them too close. And sometimes I find that the pieces are too small. I want them pretty much almost the same thickness. And so I try to stay within a ½ inch thickness of the biscoitos. And if I see that they're too small, I grab another piece. So anyway, I made 3 batches, and I'm going to roll them, and I bake them about until they're golden. So that depends, of course, your oven. My oven, from the top to the bottom oven, there's a different. Some is 20 minutes a pan, the other one is less. So you want them whatever golden you want them. The color, it's up to you, but I would say within 20 minutes per pan. So anyway, and these make, like I said, quite a bit. If you find that's too much for you, it's always good to share with a family member or a friend. Get together and do all this. I do this for a living, so for me it doesn't bother me. I make this in no time. And as far as rolling, you just want to roll it in your hands. You don't want to put too much pressure on your hands. It's just lightly pressure and roll it to the. And here's my first pan. Okay, friends, here it is. I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 more pans. And this is what I have. I made 3 batches. These are for orders that I have. So that's not that recipe. That recipe that I showed you makes 8 dozen. So anyway, this is what I've done. It took me 3 hours to do from beginning to end. If you are rolling and baking at the same time, if you have ovens, do it. They'll go in no time. So anyway, one oven took me 20 minutes. The other one took me 30 minutes. My ovens, they're different. The top one is faster than the other one. But I just want you to see how easy this is, and look how simple they are to break. This with a cup of coffee, that's the way to do it. Sometimes you make these. I've made other recipes. They were so hard that you had to dunk them really in coffee. Not these. These are so good. And you don't just eat one. You eat a couple. I will leave the recipe in the description so you can do it. It's easy. Just remember, the dough needs to be like Play-Doh. And if your dough, when you go to shape, if it's a little dry, you find that, add 1 more egg. Crack 1 egg, beat it, and add to it. It will bind it together. Because like I said, depending the flours, depending the size of your eggs. So you do this recipe, and then let me know what you think of it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Give me some thumbs up. Share my videos on your social media and with your friends and family. Until next time, let's go bake it. Have a good day.